Ronda Rousey has been taking a lot of heat in the wrestling world as of late by a lot of her comments while she's out promoting her new book, Our Fight. And in this book and in her media rounds, she's been making some pretty salacious comments about the WWE, mostly about Vince. She had commented saying everything just being beholden to this near 80-year-old man who has been on 5 or 6 episodes of Behind the Bastards. I don't know what that is, what that's about, but she's basically just calling him a bastard. The bloodline is able to plan things a year ahead of time, and they don't even want to talk to me till I get to the arena. Stuff like that. I just didn't want to be Vince's action fucking figure anymore. I felt like I was doing custom matches for a fucking sicko in the back. Like, just negative. She just had a bad experience there. And, of course, one of the greatest interviewers of our time, Ariel Helwani, who knows Ronda Rousey extremely well from his connection to the MMA world, couldn't help but ask the question when he had the man, Becky Lynch, on his podcast, the MMA Hour. Becky Lynch doing the WrestleMania media rounds, WrestleMania media rounds, and also promoting her book, The Man. And she was asked by Ariel Helwani about Ronda Rousey's recent comments. And Becky really didn't hold back about old Ronda, did she? Check out this clip.
Ronda has had some pretty negative things to say about her time now. Did you know about this, or are you surprised to hear her write these things and say these things now with her book coming
things?
out?
So here's the thing, because I like to say I've not read the book.
Okay.
So anything that I'm hearing, I'm taking, like, it's hearing it out of context. So you don't know what's like a headline grab and what gets more contextualized if you read the book. So anyway, what are we talking about?
Well, specifically, there was a tweet where she said that he still has, as long as Bruce Pritchard is around, he still has some impact. He's just a text away, right? So he's not fully gone. She said that. And then she talked about the concussions and...
that she had?
Yeah, the concussions that she had and maybe not... feeling, I think, I haven't read the book as well, but I've seen her interview with her sister. She did an interview with her sister promoting it and not feeling like she was maybe put in the best spot. She just seems like she has a lot of animosity towards her time, which I thought was a positive experience coming off her UFC run. And so my main question is, are you surprised to hear that there is some negativity with regards to her experience in WWE? Because for the most part, I know it ended or has ended for now. Mm-hmm. It seems like there's a lot of negativity.
Yeah. Am I surprised by that?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm surprised, no.
Okay.
No. No, I'm not surprised. That as in that was her experience, and that's what she's writing about. But in terms of like the concussions, like was she saying that like did WWE know about them, or was she saying?
Well, so I haven't read the book either.
Okay.
So I'm just, again, I'm reading the same stuff and seeing the same stuff. So I would like to read it. Her first book was good.
Yeah. Like, look, I've had a very different, I have a very different view and a very different experience of WWE. But I always wanted to do this. And I think when you love this, you look to try and make it better. How can I make this better? But she was coming from a different industry. She was a star, and she should have been handled differently in terms of, I think she had such a great first outing that everybody thought, oh, she can wrestle. And I mean this with respect, but she couldn't wrestle. Like what we do isn't something that you can just have one good match and then, okay, yeah, no, I'm off to the races. It's a craft, and you have to learn your craft, and you have to be diligent about learning your craft. But everybody treated Ronda like she already knew it, because when she first came in, she was good in that first bout, but she was also working with Kurt Angle, she was working with Triple H, Stephanie McMahon. It was a well-rehearsed match, you know, because everybody wanted her to succeed. And then it was like, okay, she can She can do this off to the races. And that was mishandling her because she was, you know, a star in her own right, and she had done so much for MMA, and so in terms of that and booking, that wasn't done well. But my experience coming from nobody thinking that I was going to be worth anything and making myself very valuable to the company and very valuable to wrestling in general, it's because I loved it, you know, because I loved it and I sought out to do it. And she came in and I think she found a place that she enjoyed, she liked, but she never like sought to do it from a young age. And I think that changes the experience that you have when you go into a place, if that makes sense.
Now, Becky wasn't exactly burying her or talking trash or anything. She was just being honest about it. But, you know, she flat out said Ronda couldn't work. She couldn't work. But the WWE assumed that she could because she had one really good match that was rehearsed and walked through a million times, that WrestleMania tag team match with her and Kurt against Triple H and Stephanie. And all of a sudden, everybody assumed Ronda Rousey was this fucking great worker all of a sudden, you know. She's just took to it like a fucking moth to the flame, right? Just dived right in, head first. Great wrestler. But that wasn't the case. But everybody treated her as such, and she wasn't really taught or used properly. I don't blame Becky for having those opinions of Ronda. She didn't say she hated Ronda or didn't like her even. She just said she couldn't work. She wasn't a great wrestler, and that it doesn't surprise her that she wasn't too happy in WWE because she never really wanted to be in WWE to begin with. It was her backup choice. It was after she flunked out of the UFC. And look, she was the most dominant. Let's just give Ronda Rousey her flowers right now, because I do think some people... I started watching MMA a little bit before Ronda really blew. I guess around the Ultimate Fighter time, right? When they were after Monday Night Raw and stuff, and they had the Ultimate Fighter. Really around the same time most people started watching UFC, at least us wrestling fans, you know. And I had seen the tapes as a kid, you know, the Shamrocks and the Gracies and stuff like that. But really watching and following UFC right around then. So I was privileged to see the rise and watch Ronda Rousey in her prime as a fighter. And she really was like, she was a beast. She would go in there and you just knew. You knew for a fact she was going to rip the girl's arm off and beat her over the head with it before the end of the first round. That's just how it went. And Ronda, by doing so, by being this, not only put women's MMA on the map, which was something Dana White didn't even want. He was very outspoken. Nobody wants to watch women fight, he said. Then he met and saw Ronda Rousey, and everything changed because he saw dollar signs in this chick. She was hot at the time, or decent looking anyway. She could talk, she could cut a promo, she was a trash talker, she was a bit of a heel, but you know, MMA likes its heels. Conor McGregor was a bit of a heel too, you know, people like to hate the guy and he's talking shit, you know, so she was whooping everybody's ass. And what this did was it not only boosted up MMA women's division, but this boosted up wrestling's women division. It showed that women in professional sports, combat sports, simulated combat sports, that women could be stars, that people wanted to watch women as well. Ronda Rousey was selling mega pay-per-views. So when she was the first main event for WrestleMania and women got that first main event match for a WrestleMania, it was well earned. Even though they were doing the whole women's evolution and all that shit at the time, I was, you know, very outspoken myself at the time saying, look, Ronda Rousey has headlined so many huge pay-per-views for the UFC. It's a natural transition to use that to help sell pay-per-views in the women's division for WWE, to boost up the women's division, and she did. Not only while she was still in UFC, she did, just by showing that women can be taken seriously, that stars in the women's division are stars in general, that people will pay to go see them. That was all Ronda Rousey. Then when she went to the WWE, she helped at least with her star power for those first couple years. That first one with the tag match with Triple H and Stephanie, and then the women's main event, the triple threat. But then we kind of started to see through Ronda. And she wasn't all that great of a wrestler. We started to see that she wasn't, and she wasn't, the passion wasn't there. She wasn't coming out and giving it her all anymore. It seemed like she was half-assing it, going through the motions, just there to collect a paycheck by the end of it. And it was clear that she wasn't happy either. Look, that shit happens from time to time. Shit happens, right? Some people just are not meant for the wrestling business, especially when it wasn't your dream from the beginning. This was what Becky kept hammering home. I wanted to be a wrestler my whole life. So there's bullshit in any job you go to. Any job you go to, you're going to not like your boss at times, or you're going to question, well, why the fuck are they having me do this? Or how does they do that? You know, it's bound to happen in any workplace, even the ones you love, even the ones you wanted to do ever since you were a little kid. But the difference is that Becky always wanted to be a wrestler, so she wanted to be there. Ronda didn't have that. Ronda was like, I don't have to be here. I don't know why I'm doing this. You guys need me. I'm a big star. It was just the wrong mentality to go into. Wrestling business is tough. It will chew you up and spit you out. You have to be able to go with the flow. You have to be able to go with not being the main event all the time. You have to be able to deal with being handed shitty creative. You have to be able to handle getting hurt from time to time, including a concussion, like Ronda talked about having a concussion and felt scared to speak up. Well, that's on her. Speak up about it. In the era that she came to the WWE, concussions were taken seriously. It wasn't like back in the day where it was like, oh, you just don't talk about it and you tough it out. That's on her for feeling like she couldn't talk about it. WWE, by all accounts, takes good care of its talents. And look, I get working for Vince probably sucked. Especially for her, and especially her coming from MMA, where her whole life she was probably treated as a big deal, as a big star. You know, she was kicking everybody's ass in fucking judo and winning all these tournaments, and was probably getting all this praise and all that shit. And then when she went to UFC, she dominated there, and she was getting magazine covers and the video game cover, and my God, selling headlining pay-per-views and all that shit. It wasn't until she got punched in the face real good by Holly Holm and got her ass kicked that she was humbled for the first time. And she took it bad there too. She walked away all pissy. She didn't do the after fight interview thing. And, you know, she just always had a bad attitude about getting her ass kicked, right? She's always been a heel. So when she went to the WWE, I'm sure, especially because the way that she was treated at first, she went in there thinking that she was going to be treated like a big deal, that she would kick everybody's ass in the women's division and be on top forever, and everybody would help make her look good and blah, 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 blah. And that was only going to last so long. That just was not the case. It only took, you know, a couple of years, and then she was moving her way down the card. And she wasn't putting any effort into herself to get herself over any better or to improve in the ring any. And so she was just another chick on the card, and she was treated as such. And so she left when her contract was up with a bad taste in her mouth. Fans don't care to see her back because she wasn't all that impressive while she was here. And now she's pissing everybody off in the locker room as well with her stupid comments in her book. But again, I don't think Becky was too harsh on her here. I think she accurately described it. I think, you know, Becky calling her out, saying she wasn't really a good worker, is what it is. You know, they did their best to try to prop Ronda up, and like Becky had a good run with Ronda and everybody else had a good run with Ronda, but they all had to kind of carry her a little bit and prop her up. So it just wasn't going to work out. It wasn't going to work out, but she was a huge star, still is a huge star in my opinion. I think that damaged her quite a bit, quite frankly. I think, just being moved down, her ending her WWE career in a fucking tag team with Shayna Baszler, I think that did hurt her star power quite a bit, but she'll always be a star. She'll always have the MMA to fall back on. I just wish she wouldn't be out there talking trash about the WWE so much just because she had a bad experience there. Who cares? Fuck her. But Becky Lynch, I highly recommend checking out the rest of this interview too. There was great tidbits in here. She talked long and hard about Vince McMahon. Ariel's a great interviewer. He's, for my money, probably the best interviewer there is out there today. He asked the tough questions. He asked about Vince McMahon. He asked about Ronda Rousey. He asked her about her relationship with Seth and if they ever if one's doing good and the other's doing bad, is there jealousy issues there? Is there any kind of, heat amongst the marriage about that? Who's getting the push, brother? That sort of thing. He even asked her about the return of CM Punk. What did you think about that when Punk came back? And her being Seth's wife, obviously she would have an interesting opinion on that. Great interview with Ariel Helwani. I have linked the entire thing down in the description below. While you're there, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up. It helps me out tons. If you liked this video or you like anything else I'm doing and you haven't yet, hit that fucking subscribe button, would you please? So much. If I can ask you one thing. It would mean a lot to me if you could hit that subscribe button down below. I'm going to go ahead, and while you're there, leave some comments, too. Tell me what you thought about this topic in general. Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, did you watch the interview? Do you have any other takeaways from the interview? You have any thoughts on Ronda? Any of that shit, leave it in the comments below. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah, and you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Oh yeah, dig it.